22 hours in Accra. Thanks so much for joining us. This is News at 10. My name is Bright Nana Amfo. And a quick look at today's major news highlights. And beginning from here, the 37 military hospital is in dire need of medical consumables to treat victims of the atomic Junction gas disaster. The facility currently has 40 victims, 2 of whom are in critical condition at the intensive care unit. President Akosua says the country cannot afford any more gas explosions, insisting government will come out with policies to prevent such incidents. President Nanado was speaking at the third day on the store of the Northern Region when he worshipped with the congregants at the Asiedu-Dartey Anglican Church in Tamale. 60 boys of the Swom Senior High School in the Kwabibim district of the Eastern Region have been displaced following a fire outbreak Sunday morning. School authorities explained they saw smoke from a section of the boys' dormitory around 8 a.m. when students were at a church service. Stones and gravel mining at Tuba in the Ga South municipality continues unabated despite several complaints by residents. Inhabitants say the daily mining by private contractors on the Botiano Krokobiti Hills is negatively affecting their lives and farming activities. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now to our first story. The 37 military hospital is in dire need of medical consumables to treat victims of the atomic Junction gas disaster. The facility currently has 40 victims, 2 of whom are in critical condition at the intensive care unit.
The 37 military hospital was inundated with a number of victims in the atomic Junction gas explosion. At least 40 persons were rushed there officially as at 1 a.m. Sunday. 2 of the injured are currently in critical condition at the intensive care unit of the hospital. Some of the victims here, according to doctors, may spend a year or 2 on admission depending on their conditions. Already, the hospital administration is recalling staff on annual leave.
We've managed to bring in all those on off, those on leave, and those on courses in Kolebu and all over the place to help, and others are also around to help.
But the biggest challenge for the hospital authorities is inadequate consumables. The hospital says it lacks the needed medicals and logistics to treat patients.
Human resource, we are fine. Our basic problem is the logistical support by way of dressings, infusions, drugs for them, because so far we've taken care of them from our resources and they are not inexhaustible. So we are actually running out now.
Commandant of the hospital, Brigadier General Ernest Crosby Saka, called on the public and non-governmental organizations to come to their aid to save victims, some of whom have about 80% burns on their bodies.
Now let's stay on the issue. President Nana Akosua says the country cannot afford any more gas explosions, insisting government will come out with policies to prevent such incidents. President Akosua said this on the third day of his tour of the Northern Region when he worshipped with the congregants at the Asiedu-Dartey Anglican Church in Tamale.
It is time these incidents came to a stop in Ghana. We cannot continue with them. We are going to have to come out with a clear policy on how to prevent such incidents in the future. Fortunately, Cabinet will be meeting on Thursday And I believe out of that meeting, the country will know what our program is, the comprehensive program that we intend to have to bring such incidents to a stop. What happened yesterday is one too many. We cannot afford anything. I would like everybody involved in the industry to recognize that we will all have to make adjustments to be able to guarantee the safety and the security of our people so these things do not happen again. And I need the support and cooperation of the people of Ghana to make the policies that we'll be bringing out succeed so that such incidents become a thing of the past.
So let's say on the issue, Akosua Bridge is the president of the Ghana Institute of Planners, and he says, join me on the phone line. Good evening, sir. Grateful that you have agreed to speak to us.
Thank you very much.
So
I'm grateful too.
Let's begin from here. For you planners, when it comes to citing these gas stations, petrol filling stations, do you have a role as far as the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies are concerned?
Definitely, we do. Assembly is represented there by a planner at the town planning office. There's also the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, that is there. And then there's other bodies that are also in control of where we site these things. There are rules and regulations that must be obeyed.
I see.
And so we do, yes.
And so if there are complaints about citing these stations, you can take part of the blame.
Well, everybody can, but the fact is that there are certain rules and regulations listed 1, 2, 3 to the end. Once somebody follows through, then it means that he qualifies to go and do that particular facility, citing it there. But the fact that you are legally qualified does not prevent a disaster. It does also not reduce fatality when there's a disaster. And so going through the rules is one thing, but ensuring that all that was expected of you to continue to produce and perform, if it doesn't follow, that doesn't mean you are not going to see or have any difficulty happening later on. If I can go on, for example, something that happened here last night, there are some of the facilities, at the time it was established, like the dental one, that's in the 1980s. At that time, there were no developments around. But now development has grown to encroach upon the area to such an extent that the question is, do you now move the gas station further, or you should have stopped the development of the structures close to that place? These are the things that we have to think about. Since you may not be able to move the gas filling station further, what we may have to enforce is that there are two things we can do. One, can we have gas leakage detectors, alarms, attached to the filling stations, so that yesterday, as the journalists make us believe, when they were sensing that gas was leaking, alarm could have gone out and everybody could have gone away to ensure that nothing more is done than everybody evacuating. Number two, we must begin to ensure strictly that how far do we permit new structures to be close to the existing service that has been established some 10, 15 years ago, so that the limit, no law permits anybody to put anything inside there, so that we are sure that safety measures are placed on. What we are seeing further is that there are now new ones coming up, filling stations and then the gas filling stations. For example, on the Bachona area, there's a new construction from the Sprinters Road to the motorway.
Right.
In the middle of a residential area. A filling station being constructed. It is exactly opposite a primary school. They have their permit all right. They've written the permit from TMA boldly on the screen there. But does not prevent one day an explosion and fatality occurring. So I'm using this opportunity to invite the office of the Vice President. When he was there this morning at the Adenta, he made sure that measures are going to be taken. Let people come and inspect that certain places, no matter how legal it is not safe. The legality will not prevent an accident and a fatality. So that we stop this once and for all. You will not want to hide behind a law that he is fulfilling this. He has provided that and that and that. At the moment, in the Land Use and Special Plan Authority Act 925, which has now been established, there are going to be rules where if there's going to be a rezoning in establishing these gas filling stations and all, it will have to go to Parliament. There will be public notice. There will be larger debate. As of now, all we do is that let the people whose property abuts the new construction give their consent. When they do, it goes. But when this new law is established, beginning from this year, it's going to go into a public, national circulating newspaper and all that, so that more people can have a say to that kind of thing. Other than that, now only 2 or 3 people can say, yes, let it go, and then the planning authority, which the planner is only one person on the committee, no matter how much you say, can go. Yeah.
I'm grateful. Mr. Alfred Kwesi Opoku is the president of the Ghana Institute of Planners, talking to me there. We're staying on this gas explosion issue. The founder and leader of the All People's Congress in the 2016 general elections, Hassan Ayariga, has chided the Environmental Protection Agency for granting licenses to people to operate gas and fuel filling stations close to each other. Hassan Ayariga was at the scene of a gas explosion at Atomic on Sunday to observe things for himself.
If you look around, we have about 4 different filling stations and a gas filling stations. My question is, why will the EPA give licenses to 4 different filling stations within a jurisdiction of less than 2 acres of land? Beside that, why will EPA allow all these filling stations for people to operate as market square, taxi rank, when you know that for safety rules and regulations, we are not supposed to have a lorry park around a filling station? We're not supposed to have a market square around a filling station, but we do allow all those things to happen. Meanwhile, these people have EPA licenses, and you are supposed to monitor and check what happens within the filling stations.
There's more coming up on the gas explosion. Stay with us. This is News at 10. Now let's attention to some other issues. 60 boys of the Swom Senior High School in the Kwabibrim district of the Eastern region have been displaced following a fire outbreak Sunday morning. School authorities explained they saw smoke from a section of the boys' dormitory around 8 a.m. when students were at a church service. A quick intervention from the fire service saved the entire facility from burning. Some classrooms have been converted into dormitories for the students in the interim. Already, senior high schools are struggling to meet the high demand of boarding facilities due to the free senior high school policy. 2 students who tried to salvage their belongings had some bruises and minor burns. According to a teacher of the school, who is also the assembly member of the Adanse electoral area in Esum, Abrefa Busia, 30 students had all their belongings burnt, with the exception of what they wore to church Sunday morning. Now we're back to the Greater Accra region. Stones and gravel mining at Tuba in the South municipality continues unabated despite several complaints by residents. Inhabitants say the daily mining by private contractors on the Botiano-Kukrobiti hills is negatively affecting their lives and farming activities.
Gravel and stones mining is common in the Botiano-Kukrobiti area of the Gan South municipality. Private contractors and individuals in the early 2000s used to mine gravels and stones on the hills close to the Densu River until the Minerals Commission moved in to stop them, though the hills have been depleted. The miners then moved to the Botiano-Kukrobiti hills. Every day, more than 20 trucks come here to collect stones and gravels that are often mined here. At the basement here, for instance, one can see the massive destruction or depletion by the activities of the miners. Yet, people are fast developing at the top of the hill. Residents at the low grounds complained of dust and their homes getting flooded during the rainy season.
The rainfall, it comes to my house, and the sand to my wall is sinking. You see, so I have to top the wall again.
I was told the Botiano Kukrobite Hills were released to Joshua construction firm to win gravels for the construction of the Akosua Nyamransa Road in 2014. After that, private contractors and individuals took over and have since been mining gravels and stones to the detriment of residents. The assemblyman of the Tuba electoral area, Abdul Karim Tete, said the assembly has on several occasions raised the matter and the district security coordinator promised to address it appropriately.
Some time ago they came and stopped them, but you know, they can't be chasing them every day. That's the problem. Led with the assembly, task force, and then the EPA, then the minerals commission, they also have to come in.
He accused chiefs and other traditional leaders for the current happenings. Farmers at Tuba say the stones and gravel winning is negatively affecting their farming activities. The dirty rainwater and sand, we were told, often pass through the canal, polluting the water in the reservoir.
The water also changes color, and if you put it on, if you water the crops, then the crops too, you know, they need natural water to grow, so it also affects our crops as well.
The farmers say they often have to desilt the sand from the canal to allow for free flow of water. Rahim Sombo regularly buys stones here, and he acknowledges the activity is not appropriate.
It's giving them infection, it's worrying them, but okay, it's not good, we have to stop.
Meanwhile, officials of the Minerals Commission say it gave permission to a company last year, but that permission has since expired. The commission says it had received a letter from the residents concerning activities of the illegal miners and promised to follow up, adding if the damage is severe, the miners will be asked to reclaim the land.
The Friday morning's downpour has weakened the temporary footbridge on the Akosua River on the Akosua Bridge road. Despite several warnings, commuters continue to use the weakened footbridge.
The downpour has caused the Akosua River to overflow its banks. The flood waters dragged some of the supporting pillars of the improvised wooden bridge, leaving it hanging. Although the police and NADMO officials reportedly blocked the entrance to prevent people from gaining access to the footbridge, commuters ignored the precautionary measure. Some commuters scaled the barricade to gain access to cross the bridge at the peril of their lives. Some shared their experience.
Because the plant was not in order, it's still shaking. So by the grace of God, we are expecting that the government will come and put it in so, because if these things continue between 3 days, something might happen.
There's no passage, so the policemen were here and then they blocked it because it's shaking, the bridge is shaking, and someone is likely to fall down and then anything can happen. But there should be a passage where pedestrians can pass. The bridge is not so strong. That's what we beg for the government.
Other residents appealed to contractors working on the bridge to create a temporal access to enable vehicles cross the river while they take their time to repair it. Meanwhile, the road diversion created for motorists to ply is deteriorating, compelling some drivers to create illegal routes through the community.
And of course, we're grateful that you stayed there to be part of our show. And my guys here, Dan Latte, Boy Frekoni, Samuel Andani, and of course, Bernard Hansi, my soundmen. And those who work behind the scenes, John Flagbo, Albert Mensah, Manassas Darko. Of course, the show was put together by Isaac Amekos. Your director was Richard Buslamte. My name is Bright Nananfo. Have a good night and stay right here. on TV3. Good night.